Yo-ho, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
I'm Denville.
Today we're going to talk about Secret Empire #1, written by Nick Spencer, with art by...
I think Steve McNiven.
Steve McNiven, kind of? Maybe? Probably. It looks like it.
I mean, they said it on the book.
That's what it says, so we got to take it at face value. And then I'm going to give you some thoughts on All-Star Batman #10, which is coming out on Wednesday of this week. So
What, you get it?
I did. I got a chance to read it early. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But anyway, let's get into it. Secret Empire #1 is the... I mean, like, I can't say it sets the stage. It's more like the stage was set like a year ago, and now here's like Act 3 or whatever of the epic Captain America's in Hydra, and now he's finally going to take over the world, but he feels real bad about it.
But he already did. Like,
yeah, the world's already been taken.
Because
I mean...
Because it happened in Zero.
Right.
Is it the world, though, or is it just the
America.
US?
I mean, basically...
Other than the fact that, you know, superheroes were kicked out, there's a bubble around the Earth?
Yeah, there's a whole, like, planetary defense bubble.
I think it's, like, everything.
I feel like it must be everything.
So how does that work with, like, solar radiation and whatnot?
I mean, it doesn't. Let's get into the art for this story first, because I think it needs to be addressed.
Okay.
What do you guys think of the art for this issue?
There were a lot of lines and faces. Like, people looked old.
Yeah. When you add too many lines and faces, it just looks... look, that is a McNiven trait, I think, is he really puts those creases in.
Well, Steve looked really worried, and because of that, he kind of looked a little gaunt.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 60.
That's not good. He's not 50 or 60.
Well, I mean, he is.
Well, he's actually older, but...
but he's not supposed to show it.
No.
I loved the art.
Did you really?
No.
No.
Oh.
No, I think McNiven's strength is in inorganic materials.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of really great backgrounds and, like, a lot of, like, vehicles and, like, some of the ships and so they just look great. And I mean that legitimately. Like, there is a panel with, like, guns and it's colored in a very specific way and, like, it's just, like, it looks great. It's a great panel.
Yeah.
I think with a book that has to do with an individual who we have come to know and love, being so, like, polar opposite of what he is, the fact that he struggles with faces, or I don't know if it's the ink or the color or whatever, but there's something about the faces, it's just not working for me, and, and I'm so distracted sometimes by the art that I think the message is at times lost because it requires a reread on my part. You know what I mean? Or I'm like, oh, I gotta go back, because I was like reading but not reading because
Because you're distracted, yeah.
Yeah, very distracted. It's a lack of, like, continuity, again, in characters, just in general. You know, like, he's an artist. I've heard of him before. I think we've seen some of his work.
Yes,
but I just
Civil War.
I think he has, just certain strengths, and I don't think they're being played to right now.
I've seen him do better. He drew Old Man Logan. He drew Civil War.
I mean,
those books look better than this.
These books are very long.
Yes.
Like, there are a lot of pages. It's a lot to draw. It is a monthly book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you would think that they would have a bit of a lead on this, but if they don't have enough of a lead, then he might be rushing through a little bit of this to make sure that they get it out.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. The fact is, there was nothing glaring or any moments where I was like, that looks terrible. But I will say that the covers sold me. I saw that cover, I'm like, that is great. I can't wait to see this. Okay. And it just doesn't have the prestige look that I was coming to expect. It could be me, I don't know. But I won't say it was amateur hour. It wasn't like it was weird.
Right.
You know, it was just not at the level I was hoping it was going to be. What do you think of the writing for this issue? Nick Spencer has been building this damn thing pretty much single-handedly forever. I mean, arguably, he wrote a better Civil War II than Bendis did. Well, all of his Civil War II stuff was about how Cap was, like, manipulating stuff behind the scenes and, like, making it more terrible.
Right.
So, you know, he was doing a nice job. He wrote Deadly Foes of Spider-Man, or Superior Foes of Spider-Man, and it's fantastic and hilarious and fun.
This was actually pretty decent. I had a fun time reading this story, but at the same time, everything with Steve was terrible. Like, all the other characters were great. I loved the characters in the cave.
Yeah, Hawkeye and his team.
Yeah, that was fun. I liked all the characters around the table. The Hydra, like...
bad guys, like the League of Terrible People.
That wonderful table of miscreants.
Yes.
That was great. And Rick Jones was really cool.
Yeah.
I liked him in this. But Steve was just like a lead in your chest.
Yeah.
Just like heavy and dour and...
Well, he is. I mean, he's just so sad that he has to do this because he's so beholden to the mission, you know?
So yeah, that brought the book back down.
Right on.
But overall, yeah, I'd get time reading it.
I think Spencer is really like proficient and above proficient, I would say, at world building. Like the man like has a beginning, middle, and end. He knows his timeline. You know what I mean? Like there's something to be said for that because not a lot of writers take that into account a lot of the times. Like,
Yeah.
and he has been building this for so long.
Yeah.
That being said, I have not been reading Captain America,
Right.
so I feel like I'm missing out on part of it, and I can feel it.
Yes.
Like I feel like
You're missing a big part
I'm
of the
missing
story.
a huge part of this story, which should make me go out and want to run out and read it, but look, I like Captain America. I like what he stands for, right? But I like the magical part
of the Marvel
of
Universe.
Marvel Universe a little bit more so. So like it's not going to make me do that right now. But that said, like I think like he knows how to write characters. Some of the characters seemed a little bit off here and there. Like Black Widow, I was like, what?
Yeah, she was a little weird.
She was a little bit weird. I mean, like that kind of comical moment. I was like, I don't, in my head, picture her having a moment like that. But that could just be me, like, stereotyping her. But it's a very, like, interestingly paced book.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's taking its time.
Yeah.
Which I'm not used to. So, like, part of me's like, what is happening? Where is this going? Clearly he's gonna come back. And I'm like, just relax for a minute and take a deep breath, me, because, like, we're gonna get there, and, like, we'll see how we do that. And, like, each issue, I'm surprised, like, the Zero issue, I was like, oh, this is really long, because it's a Zero issue. Cool, that's awesome. And then I looked at the first issue, and I was like, this is really long. Wow, what?
Yeah. Even the Free Comic Book Day issue, it has a page with like 27 panels on it.
Right, like it's a lot of story. Like he clearly cares about the story quite a bit. Like
Yes.
you know, he put a lot of effort into it.
This is his opus.
Right, it really is.
Yeah.
And like it's nice to see that because I know like it is in a sense being compared to Bendis' Civil War.
Well,
too.
yeah, I mean, like, the fact is it should have come out instead of Civil War.
No,
too.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of the way, like, events are being treated,
Yes.
Bendis didn't really care about that. And that
No,
was very
clearly he
evident.
didn't care.
And now we have this other event where, like, this person really cares about
Yeah,
it. And
to the point where he's, like, prolonging it longer than it needs to be.
Right, like, so even if, like, you're, like, someone like me who is, like, I've read Secret Empire Zero, I've read 1, and I will read the event, and I will inevitably read some of the tie-ins because one of them goes right into a book I care about.
Yes.
So I will have to read that because I can't help it.
Yep.
But, like, it's just interesting because I'm like, I feel like there's a certain level of attention there I'm not used to seeing.
Yeah, that's true. I think that Nick Spencer excels at character interactions and development of those characters. The Rick Jones scene in particular was really expertly handled. So I thought that was really great. I have a little bit of a hard time getting my footing as to where this takes place and how the world is here at this point. You know,
Okay.
like Cap goes on TV and he's like, I'm in charge and Hydra's in charge, and like school teachers are like, and here's what the history books say.
Some
like,
people say I think it's like 8 months later or something like that.
It's just maybe that's the optimist in me talking, but like I feel like everyone wouldn't be falling in line that quickly.
Well, I mean,
putting
there's
stuff-
fluoride in the water, so.
Yeah.
That being said, I
That
thought
was
it was
really annoying.
fine. It was just I really liked the Free Comic Book Day issue. That's more what I was
haven't
looking
read
for.
it.
I know, but I just want to say that is more what I was hoping 1 was going to be.
Oh.
But 1 was a decent a step forward.
Right.
It's a setup.
You know
Yeah.
what's funny about this being the number 1 is that, like, if you read 0, this is really issue 2 for you.
Yes.
But they're treating it as though if you didn't pick up 0,
Yeah.
you have to know what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, like, so that can kind of seem like it's stalled out in a sense because it's just like, well, they're like, no, if people didn't hear about 0,
Yep.
then this is it. This is all they know.
Yeah.
So we have to put that in there. But if you read 0, then just bear with me.
Right.
You know, and like, good, bad, I don't know. The fact is, like, it's a politically charged book.
Very much so.
Something.
What?
I just mean, like, politically charged book, much like the original Civil War was.
Yeah.
And its elements have been things that have been poured over.
And it was very much like the original Civil War was very much Miller's personal opinions about the political climate in America in his book. Nick Spencer is doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And we're in a world where Nick Spencer is getting a lot more heat for it
Right.
than Miller did.
Exactly.
But at the same time, cool stuff happened in every page in the Civil War book, and in this one, there's a lot more talking.
Right, but again, like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, we're gonna have to see what 2 brings. And you already saw what happened with Free Comic Book Day, and I haven't had the opportunity.
It's good.
So, like, again, it could just be that one, they had to treat like it's like this weird, like, nebulous issue.
Yeah.
Or it's like a second for some, a first for others.
That cover is a lie.
Well.
This is not the cover.
I was like,
no, that cover for number 1 is a just flagrant lie. So, can you recommend this issue to everybody?
I think if you're a comic book fan and a fan of the Marvel Universe,
you're gonna need to read this?
You're gonna kind of need to know what's going on here, because there is the potential for this to have, like, long-standing ramifications.
Yeah.
And again, this issue you could just kind of pick up.
Yes.
I mean, like, maybe go back and read the Zero issue, but, like, there is a lot you need to know leading up to this. But if you just want to read the event and just only care about the story that's being told in those pages, go for it.
Yeah. I say sure. Pick it up. Check it out. Time will tell.
Right.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I had a decent time reading it, and the last page reveal I was very on board for. So I like to see where that's going and the chaos that it's going to bring.
Right on. Well, there you have it, everybody. That was our thoughts on Secret Empire number 1 by Nick Spencer and Steve McNiven. Now let's get into recommendations for books that are coming out this week on Wednesday, and my little mini review of All-Star Batman number 10.
Ooh! I was going to say, when Ben said the last page reveal, I was like, I'm going to keep it to myself. But I was like, Ben likes tentacles.
Ben's into hentai. Bentai.
What?
Bentai.
Damn it.
Hashtag Bentai.
No. Don't put this in!
All right, so All-Star Batman number 10 is written by Scott Snyder with art by Raphael Albuquerque. Those two worked together on American Vampire.
They did!
This is a new arc just about, like, Bruce Wayne and Alfred working together. After having seen a lot of Bruce Wayne and Duke working together from a lot of Scott Snyder, it was really a breath of fresh air to see Batman and Alfred and, like, no one else.
By switcheroo, you mean finally Alfred puts on the cowl.
He did that in a Tom King book recently,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think he also did that in the Adam West show.
He did?
He did do that.
I remember that scene burned into my memory because he holds this little thing up in front of his mouth, which is supposed to mask his voice. Just like, everyone's like, "Oh, Batman, why are you doing this?" Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have a cold. I don't want you to get it."
I'll say this, in the Batman animated series, they never stooped to that.
Ooh.
The only thing they did was they had Alfred fly the Batplane.
There you go.
And he had a hard time.
Well, that happened also in Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, yeah. But he's awesome in that. He gets a drone, pretty much.
Yeah.
But, Batman, All-Star Batman number 10, the art is phenomenal. Raphael Albuquerque does such a great job.
That's awesome.
There's no breakout, dynamic, beautiful Batman moment. Everybody in All-Star Batman who's drawing a cool image gets to draw Batman in this, like, epic, iconic moment. Albuquerque doesn't take that opportunity in this issue, which is too bad, but the whole issue is so expertly drawn that it doesn't matter. It's just really good looking. And Snyder wrote a really, really solid issue. I have my own opinions about Scott Snyder's work, and it varies from issue to issue. Okay. And this one is particularly well executed. There's a lot of Snyder trappings in them. If you want a history lesson about a place you'll never go or a thing you don't care about, get ready because it's in there, and it will parallel the story that you're reading about. Okay. That's in there, and you know what? Like, I actually found myself halfway through it going, "Oh my God, he did it again!" And I was like, he catfished me again, like a history fished me. And I was like, all right, you know what, fine. And I finished it, and then it did contribute to the overall enjoyment of the issue, so I begrudgingly appreciate the fact that it did fine. Nice job, Scott. Good for you.
You win this
You win this round, but don't do it every time. It's a cool story, it's a good setup, and there's a lot of fun stuff in it. I don't want to give away too much because I just think it's a really, really solid issue you should pick up. So cool. You get my seal of approval, whatever that is worth, which is not that much. But check it out anyway. I think it's just really good. I think it's just a solid Batman story.
Oh, so that starts off another
starts
story.
A new story, and we get some insight into Alfred as a young man.
Oh,
and that's cool, and I'm excited to see where that goes because cool. there's been many stories about Alfred as a young man and what he was. This is him being like a young punk Brit teenager.
I was gonna ask if that's what he was.
Got like a Johnny Rotten leather jacket. He's just a real shit.
Does he have a mohawk?
Oh, does he have a mohawk? I don't remember. I don't think so.
Does he have an earring?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's got like 12.
He's punked out. It's great, but
he's got studs everywhere.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Even his mohawk's pierced.
It's really hard too because like very small.
He's a lot of product.
Yeah. Alright, so this is one of those weeks where all my money is going to be leaving my wallet and my bank account. So thanks, comics. Over in Image, Black Cloud #2 is coming out. I enjoyed Black Cloud #1. It was trippy and crazy and cool looking, and I'm excited to see where it's going, so I'm definitely picking up #2. First of all, it has a character named Zelda. Second of all, she can go into crazy dreams. And third of all, it's just really pretty, and it's cool. It's a story by Ivan Brandon and Jason Latour, with art by Greg Hinkle, so fun right there. Also, one of the other many indies I'll be picking out this week. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I do want to mention that AD After Death #3 is coming out. This is the conclusion to the mini-series, so if you've been picking that up, you have the opportunity to grab the last one of it. It's just kind of like Snyder's interpretation of death, a society that like no longer has death, and then what happens were to be kind of reintroduced in a sense. It's a really kind of crummy summary of this book, but it's kind of that. I don't want to give anything away for it. Again, it's kind of a, I don't know, very personal book, I think, for him. And I think each person who reads it will have their own interpretation of it. And also, just on a non-indie note, Kingpin #4 is coming out this week from Marvel. It's one of those books I feel like is getting swallowed up some weeks. I like Kingpin. It's written by Matthew Rosenberg with art by Ben Torres. It's a book that makes you question what makes a villain, what is villainous, and just why the Kingpin is just so gosh darn charismatic.
So my recommendation this week is for Suicide Squad #17, written by Rob Williams with art by Tony S. Daniel. This is not a book I would usually recommend because while the Suicide Squad can be a fun thing, they get a little crazy at times, but this crazy this week is going to be in a great direction because Amanda Waller's pulling in General Zod to be part of the team. That's right, you get an evil Superman to be part of the Suicide Squad. I can't even imagine how many people are going to die in this. It's got to be a lot, right? If it's a lot, I am on board. You should be too. Check it out.
So anyway, we'll see you guys next week with another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks a lot for watching. Keep reading.